But more importantly, when you're investigating UFOs, you never know when you're going to meet somebody who's going to change your life. This happened to me. I originally met this lady back in 1993, but she did not decide to talk to me until 1997, after the Phoenix Lights happened, just before the 50th anniversary of Roswell, and when the Air Force responded by publishing Roswell Case Closed. She called me after CNN covered the publication of the Air Force book, and the first thing I heard from her, not having talked to her in 4 years, was, "It's a damn lie." And I said, "Good to hear from you, June." And because it'd been 4 years, but I said, "Why are you willing to talk to me?" And she said, "I'm 72 years old, my cancer's in remission, I've outlived 2 husbands, what are they going to do? Shoot me or put me in prison? I can do either one." I wasn't born yesterday. I said, "June, could I come over for coffee?" And June and I became really, really good friends. And when you talk about looking back over the history of this conference, she's one of the people that I kind of hope is standing over my shoulder as I'm talking to you now. The other one we'll get to later is Deputy Dale Spower from the Portage County, Ohio Sheriff's Office, who I'll get to why he's important to me. But June was extremely well known out at Ocean Shores. That's her obituary. That's a picture of June in 1947. Picture a tall, attractive, vivacious, intelligent woman working amongst a bunch of scientists, engineers, and military people. And we all know that men talk too much around attractive women. We also know, as I know this as a detective, if you go into a business and you want to know what's going on in the business, I don't really care whether I get to talk to the boss, but I really care about whether or not I make friends with the executive secretary or the office manager. There's 2 reasons. They are the gatekeepers, and also they know what's really going on there, more so than most everybody there. That was June. I was totally blown away because she was not a woman who had a background in UFOs or anything else, and she started talking to me about some of her experiences, and I'm going to share one little fragment from one of those conversations. Now, please bear in mind, this is an elderly woman. Her health was actually a little more precarious than she let on, and so my voice is kind of a boomer, and she's a little more quiet.
Now, is this the same period of time, I remember that you mentioned before, that someone actually showed you a piece of something?
Yeah.
Was this during the same period of time?
Yes, 51, 52.
Okay, now who showed it to you?
Okay, it was Lieutenant Rose is the one that showed it to me, or Captain Wheeler. Now, it could have been one or the other of those guys because they were both in personnel shoes. And he walked in, and they always like to rag me because they couldn't figure me out. And he threw it on my desk, and it was a piece. Well, it was a piece that's about this big, and it was
about half of about size of a business card.
Yeah, about that size, and a half of this.
Okay.
There, and it was bent like this. And he says, "June, you're a good wrecker. Tear that thing apart. Break that up." And I took it and I bent it and I twisted it and I laid it back down, and it got right back to the same shape. I got my desk. He says, cut it, try cutting it." I got on my desk, I got my scissors out, and I snipped at it, and you know, there was no way I could even cut that piece of metal. And it was as light as a feather. I had it in my hand, and I would say that it didn't weigh as much as these 2 cards. It wasn't that heavy. It was so light, but strong, and it was about, the thickness would be about, say, let's see, it would be about It would be about that thick,
So it's fairly thick, but it doesn't weigh anything.
but had no weight at all. It was like a feather. And so strong, it was sort of a grayish gunmetal type of color. And you could see that on the inside there was that there was a coating on the outside. Both sides of it was the same. And the inside seemed to have a sort of a light lead-colored center to
What
it.
were the edges of this like? Were they even, or was it like part of something else?
It was even,
It was
all
even.
even. And I said, what is it? He said, it's a piece of spaceship.